Hi, it's Rachel Thompson Phillips. I thought I would come in and have a quick little chat with you around the shift of energy that's occurring for people at the moment. Now, as of Wednesday through till Friday, we had the unique card coming up. And that is about, rejoicing and celebrating in your own uniqueness. But the resistance that I've been talking with lots of women has been noticing that there's a lot of people out there that are finding that a real challenge to be able to say, hey, you know what, I really like this about me, or I do this really well. So therefore, being able to step into your uniqueness is going to have obstacles or opportunities where people will then go back to old behaviours where they go and deny those things about themselves and focus only on those areas of concern that they see as a lack of. Today's card came up for the daily theme as femininity, and it's also the card that follows through onto the weekend. So this is about being able to be kinder, be gentler. And the thing that I've been very aware of when speaking with lots of women over this week is about that internal conversation that they're having with themselves, still being in that old pattern where they're emotionally beating themselves up and not being able to recognize or to actually be able to come out and say something really nice about themselves, because they're so used to focusing only on those areas where they're not so great. So the reason for this was that I wanted to be able to share some tips and tricks with you guys on how to be able to overcome these limitations that we ourselves have placed upon us. Tip number one is to become very, very conscious of the internal conversations that you have with yourself. So there's a couple of ways that you can do that. You can either bring conscious awareness to the internal conversations that you're hearing yourself say, and the moment that you hear yourself saying something that is an illusion or an old story, reframe it immediately. Like, where if you might hear yourself say, I can't do this, the moment that you hear yourself say that, my biggest takeaway from this is do not go in and reprimand yourself or feel guilty or feel bad. This is about coming from an objective point of view to just bring conscious awareness to it. Because when we bring conscious awareness to anything, we can create change instantly. So this is the moment that if you hear yourself say a limitation about yourself, I want you to be able to stop, think about how you would like to replace this. So if you're thinking you can't do something, I'll get that out in a minute, then you can actually go in and say to yourself, this is a challenge for me right now, or I am learning new skills to overcome this. I can do this, although it may take a little bit more extra time while I develop these skills. Go in and develop and explore what the real truth is. Because if you say to yourself, you can't, what do you think is going to happen to your mindset? Your mindset's going to believe you can't actually do it. And then there's an even bigger wall of resistance that's put there. And you go into a place of an internal conflict. Whereas if you just say to yourself, a lot of the times when we feel we can't do something is because we have hit a wall where we need to develop a new skill. And therefore, when learning a new skill, we need to be patient and kind with ourselves, hence the femininity card. This card is about coming in and being gentle and being kind and being nurturing with yourself. So do you really think saying to yourself, I can't do this, and then emotionally beating yourself up is coming from this feminine flow? No, that's coming from a place of just more of a masculine dominating area where you have got yourself into a habit. And look, I'm going to be incredibly honest and say I've done this many a times myself, but put these high levels of super expectations on myself, and if I haven't reached them the way that I feel that they should, I beat myself up emotionally. That's something that was a habit that I did for many, many years, and for some parts it was a really great motivator. But then as time progressed, as I was continually learning new skills all the time, that level of emotionally beating myself up was no longer resourceful anymore. And so therefore I had to learn to interject and find new creative ways, hence why I'm sharing this with you. So first, go in and bring conscious awareness to the conversations that you're having, not only just with yourself, but the conversations that you're having with other people. Bring awareness to that. 2, the second thing is write down at least 3 great things about yourself. I like my sense of humor. I like my determination. I like that I'm a kind, beautiful soul. I want you to list at least 3 things that you like about yourself. Write them down on a piece of paper, put them on a fridge, put them somewhere where you can see them all the time. And every time you catch yourself saying those words, I want you to stand there and say 5 times over those 3 I likes. This way, what you're doing is you're creating new change within your mindset. You're getting yourself to not only start to hear that you like things about yourself, but when we start to hear it, what do you think happens? We start to feel this. So this softness, hence the femininity, is going to come through. The third thing that I would love to share with you is about how to work with this feminine flow, is to be aware of your own flow. Are you finding that you are always working at a pace where you go really quickly and hit a wall as a resistance, or are you allowing yourself to go with your flow of alignment to be able to help you stay on track? Because the moment that we have these emotional up and downs is the moment that we have resistance, internal conflict. Come back to balance. Internal resistance, out of balance, out of sync. And we do too much of the seesawing, and therefore we start to feel like we're visiting crazy town a little bit because there's no consistency. So femininity is about bringing through that softness, being able to find the balance between when is the best time to be able to execute that masculine aspect within ourselves. And especially because the new moon intention is set with Aries, and that's a very determined, super motivated go-getter coming from more of a masculine aspect. But it doesn't mean that we can't bring in through that feminine flow, which is, yes, you can be determined, you can be motivated, but you can also work in sync with your own natural flow of knowing. Because if we spend too much time doing push, shove, force, must do, have do's, we're going to set ourselves up for failure. Whereas if we work in flow, what also means that we come from a place that we trust. Push, force, must do, have to is done so quickly because we're scared that we won't do it. We're scared that we don't trust the information. We're scared we're going to miss out on that opportunity. So there's a different mindset that comes with that. Whereas we can use the great aspects of this new intention setting of that Aries, of that determination, that motivation, that real go-getter quality within all of us, but use that in conjunction with our flow, with making sure that we are going along the journey that's in alignment with where we want to see ourselves, for where we want that end goal to go. And also then knowing that, trusting in yourself, that just because you may slow the pace down a bit doesn't mean you're not going to get there. One of the greatest things that I've been saying with a lot of the students that I have with inside the BU Intuition course is being able to say to them, there is always more than one way to be able to accomplish anything. But if we get ourselves stuck in a tunnel vision of thinking that there is only one way of getting there, what we're doing is we're denying ourselves that ability to be able to see the bigger picture, that in squashing any opportunities or possibilities that may present themselves, we're not even going to see them because we've got our eye just set only on one direction. So that squashes a part of ourself down. And then it also boxes us into that area where we're either right or we're wrong, or it's good or it's bad. No, life, as you would know by now, consists of a lot of grey. And so long as we achieve the outcome, does it really make any difference what the journey is to get there? No, it doesn't. It's only our perception of what we put inside of our head that deems if something is good enough. Now, the reason that I really wanted to come and share with this video with you was to, one, offer some different tips and tricks, but I really want you to see people start finding that new shift in perception of being kinder to themselves, being able to recognize that beauty within them, being able to see their own magic, because you know what? It doesn't matter how many times other people share how amazing we are. If we truly don't believe that within ourselves, what do you think is really going to happen to yourself? If you don't believe that there is magic within you and that you have these amazing qualities, don't you think then that the moment that you start thinking about achieving dreams, what do you think you're going to do? You're going to squash them. If you don't allow yourself to see the magic, you're also not going to be able to see the magic that coexists around you. So all of those, like I just mentioned, those opportunities and possibilities start to diminish as well. And we were all put on this earth to be divinely our own unique self. And what we've done along the way, and what, you know, it's not just us, it's life, it's what we've learned to do, is this beautiful saying, you know, and it cracks me up because every time I read it, it's like it's so true. We spend so much time learning about life that we reach this point in time where we go, you know what, we now actually have to start unlearning some of that stuff so that we can start working in alignment with what our truth is. And sometimes that can bring some of these areas that we have learned into knowledge for us, and other areas they're like, I like to see that our mind is like a filing system. Sometimes we have our files within our mind that have been sitting in there for years, but we no longer require those files anymore. So it's like a decluttering and like spring cleaning of your filing system to be able to go, hey, watch every time that resistance comes up, every time something that comes up and it's an old thought, an old limitation that said to you that you weren't good enough. This is that opportunity to go in inside your mind and visually see it or feel it or hear it or whatever it is that's your sense that works for you, to be able to visually go in, because I'm a visual person, so I used to visualize that I'd go in and like open up a filing system and take that file out and go, you know what, thanks so much, but I no longer need that file in my mind anymore. But what do I want to replace it with? Because when we remove something, we need to be able to replace it. But what we want to do is we want to replace it with something even more powerful. Hence why I said to you guys earlier, to be able to go in and write at least 3 things that you like about yourself. So the moment you take one of those old files out, you have then learned to get into a habit to be able to recognize your own uniqueness and be able to replace that file with something incredibly powerful that is really identifying the truth of who you are. Because you know what? Every single person that walks this earth was designed to be you. For you are magnificent. You have some really awesome, amazing qualities. You also have some other qualities that are, you know, we don't always spend a great deal of time bragging about, but they are all what make up who you are today. And that is a beautiful person. And now the focus is being able to share that, celebrate that, and do it from a place from that femininity of being able to just validate that you have these amazing qualities within yourself. It's not coming from a place of, you know, some people think having ego is not so great. Ego, so long it is within healthy boundaries, is incredibly beneficial for us. It can become motivators for us. It can help us recognize our own strength and some of the most greatest qualities within us by having that healthy ego within ourselves. So if you think that this is all about ego, that's okay, but just remind yourself it's about staying within healthy boundaries. It is being able to just truly rejoice in the beautiful person that we are. We have spent a great deal of time over society to have the tall poppy syndrome, where we want to tear down people when they're doing extremely good, or tear down a person because you think that they're not a great person. And I think you can find at all different times in our life, we've all done that. But does that make us feel good about who we are? No, not usually. It only showcases our flaws within ourselves. So now this is the moment where not only do we hold ourselves accountable to recognizing our own greatness, this is the moment that we start to get to help others and help serve them automatically as well. And the next time you hear a girlfriend of yours or a family member or a loved one say something detrimental about themselves, it's the moment that you catch them and you say to them, hey, that's not true. And you help them reframe this. So this lesson that you learned for yourself today is about building up your own self-confidence, about holding yourself accountable and being able to validate and recognize that beautiful essence. Because see, that's how I see people. I see them as there's this essence within them, and we emanate that out into the world. It's like that's your energy essence imprint, your own personal blueprint of who you are as a person at a core level. And it's time that we start seeing that, because we're all put on this earth to be divinely beautiful. And over the times we've been beat up, spat out and thrown out and kicked around, whatever. But that's life. That has all helped shape you into the beautiful person. No one gets through life unscathed, sorry to say. We all have a story of being able to tell you something tragic that has happened to each and every one of us. But what about all the amazing things that have helped you in this world? What about some of the amazing people that have come into your world to be able to showcase the beautiful qualities about you that have helped you unblock some of these aspects within yourself? We don't often hear people talking about that because we're too busy either hurting or harming ourselves or other people. Now is the time to change. It really is the time where there's this beautiful shift occurring that's going, you know what, that never benefited anyone. Now, how do we, as a collective consciousness, bring ourselves back into alignment? Or, you know, if you don't see it as alignment, you know, there's that other word people are using at the moment, which is that authenticity. Regardless what the word is, it all brings you back to what is your truth of who you are. Honor that as your own self, for you are the most responsible person, and there are beautiful things that you can do to keep yourselves accountable. So again, going back over those 3 quick tips that I discussed, bring conscious awareness to the moment that you hear yourself saying something that is either emotionally beating yourself up, or saying something that's very, very detrimental and disempowering, and reframe it. Reframe it and replace it with something more powerful. Write 3 I likes about yourself and put them somewhere where you can see them. And the moment that you are standing in front of that, I want you to be able to say those 3 I likes 5 times. The next is to be able to, now I've forgotten even what I said for the 3rd one. So the 3rd one, let me check in inside my own self, is about remembering that we have those filing systems and to just bring awareness to those. So I really want you guys to be able to take this away and always remember to have this beautiful equilibrium between having our balance between the masculine and the feminine, and what's really happening right at this time and point. You'll have to mind, I just got braces put on my bottom teeth and my lip is still having a little bit of a trouble trying to work with it. You know, when you sort of go to the dentist and you get numbed up, that's how my lip sort of feels at the moment. So you'll have to excuse me if I look a little bit like strangely odd. I will get used to it in a moment, okay? So as I said, this is that moment where we bring in that beautiful feminine flow, where we start being kinder to ourselves. We start recognizing the beauty that resides within every single person, because the moment that we can see that within ourselves is the moment that we start to recognize it in others. And now is this time that we start letting each person be able to see that magnificence within ourselves, because when we can hold that space for ourselves, we then allow ourselves permission to enjoy this beautiful life. We get to see the joy in it. We start to recognize and bring forth more of a gratitude attitude. We start to see that there is beauty in everything that is existing within our world, because that is showing the reflection of who I am. So I wish you guys an amazing time. And please feel free, if this is a video that you think that may resonate with someone else, please feel free to share it. And wishing you a wonderful and magical week. And I would love to hear and see what your 3 I likes are about yourself. Feel free to share them with me. So take care, guys, and have a wonderful rest of the week. And I will see you next Monday. Take care, guys. Much love.